Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe. Great to be here with you.
So let's begin our journey into your work by asking you this. 5 years ago, this pandemic was doing so much to change all of our lives. How did
Mhm.
you get through the pandemic of 2020, and how has it affected your life and what you do today?
Amazing question. Actually, during the pandemic, I'm working with startups. So I was sent by a startup to New York and Boston to run a pitch for investors. And, for me, it was crazy thing. I was in Boston and in New York, like, living the dream, pitching the company. And I was supposed to be there for 3 months and then 3 weeks. 2 weeks in, pandemic happened. Within like 2 days I had to leave the States or I won't have anywhere, a flight to go back home.
Yeah.
So it was like a very, very hard stop or clear cut. And then I remember like one morning I'm in New York, the other day I'm on my sofa and I'm like, wait, what just happened here? And like many of us, I had to calculate my journey again. So being self-employed, working for companies, many of them didn't have the fund to pay me as well. And I'm doing basically I help companies expand globally, and I'm also a speaker and trainer on personal branding and business relationships. So it got me thinking, what do people need? I mean, we all through the pandemic wanted to be closer, yet again we couldn't, which created some. I think for me, being a very extroverted person, the pandemic got me to look more inside and understand, well, maybe I'm not that extroverted. Maybe I need my time off. So personally, it was also a process that I've gone to learn more about myself. And business wise, it's about doing things differently, more online, understanding what people want. How can I help them?
So let's get to the heart and soul of what you do on a daily basis. And to do that, kids always get the truth out of us. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds at career day, and the kid in the back of the room is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
Amazing question. I help you make friends, make better friendships and stronger friendships to ensure that you will have the best time in your school, career, future, and build the best foundation for your life.
What did you want to be when you were 12 years old? What was your dream job?
Wow. Okay. I wanted to work at the circus, and then I wanted to be an astronaut at NASA, and then I wanted to work on cruise ships. And actually, it's a great question because I wanted all these things, and I came from like a small village in the Middle East, and I'm like, hey, I don't know anyone at NASA or cruise ships, so how can I do it? And actually, through this frustration that I had, I started to understand that I need to know people if I want to get to places in life. And that took me to a course of really starting to look at people at high school or different like after school events or social events, and like what do they do that gets some people to be invited to the parties or get some job opportunities that I didn't do. So I really started to observe. I read a lot of books. I interviewed later on some of the biggest names like Dr. Ivan Meisner on business relationship, and I realized how to do it. And then
Yeah.
actually life took me on a journey where I moved to Sydney, Australia by myself. I didn't know anyone. And within a month, I got a radio show with broken English. And within 2 months, I got to work for the biggest corporate, Westfield, as a campaign assistant. And it's not because I also had the experience in marketing and radio and before that, but I figured out something then. Later on, I realized that I figured out how to make authentic relationship with people and show myself in the right way so they will take me, help me get to where I want to get.
So take me back to where you were born and raised, and what were these foundational seeds that were planted into you that have grown and blossomed into this successful career with multiple geographies that you're working and living in? How did this happen?
Well, you can blame my father because he was a commercial pilot. So since
Yeah.
I was a very young girl, I flew the world, I traveled the world, I met a lot of people, and I always asked a lot of questions. And always wanted to communicate with people and understand their world and how they live. So this was the seed that I had from a very young age, traveling the world a lot. And I remember, one case that we were in Amsterdam, and I was a very short, I was a little girl. I remember looking up at this very tall Dutchman, and we entered the elevator, and he was smiling at me, and he told me, "Hi, good morning." And I told my mom, why is he approaching me? Why is he, being like greeting me? I grew up in Israel in a small village, and people are nice to one another, but still there's always this, we're a bit suspicious. so culturally wise. So, I mean, this, and that brought me to a place where today I'm the person who says hi to people, and I'm the one who opening the conversations and actually bridge between cultures and worlds. I told you that tomorrow I'm flying to give a talk in Thailand in one of the biggest tech conferences, Tech Sauce. And then I'm going to do a book tour in Vietnam on my new book, The Super Connectors Playbook, the bestseller. And the reason that this small girl that, wanted to learn the world and years later got to do book tour in Thailand and Vietnam. I mean, so there was a journey, and the journey is in what I do and also in my book.
Talk to me about your best-selling book. What impelled you to write it? What do you really want the reader to get out of it?
So the book is for, I always say, the dreamers and the achievers. Because I was always a dreamer. I always wanted to achieve things, and if it's personal and professional. And I realized that a lot of the things, again, that we want to achieve and get to in life go through other people. We are a catalyst for them the same as they are for us. So, and a lot of people have these, so many fears. Like so many of us are afraid to approach people. And this book comes to show, hey, first of all, it's really natural to communicate with strangers and other people. Secondly, most people would love to assist us, even though many people think they won't. And for the first time, I would cautiously say, because I see it as kind of the modern business networking book, it really gives you a blueprint, a playbook, which I'll share the pillars in a second. And even experienced networkers suddenly when they see the pillars, then it makes sense. Okay, I do it well, maybe I can do it better next time. I mean, it really gives you kind of a framework to understand where you are in
Yeah.
relation to it. And the framework is the following six pillars. First of all, you have to know your goal. Is it small goal? Is it big goal? Do I want to find a job, or do I want to get a raise, or do I want to get three more clients in the next 6 months for my business? So know your goal. The second one is what I like to call people plan. The same as Joe, as we have business plan and marketing plan. Why shouldn't we have a people plan? Meaning understanding, first of all, who are the people that we know, and who are the type of people that we want to get to know that can essentially support in achieving our goals. Now, yes, it's a bit strategic, it's a bit cold, but it's one pillar to be able to plan. Then the next one is personal branding, because when I approach someone, the first thing they would do is Google us, put our name on the chat GPT, and also face to face. So we need to know how to present ourselves in the right way to the right people. So we had goal, we had people plan, we had personal branding, online and offline. And then it's about the communication, the soft stuff, how to break the ice, how to authentically connect with people and build a rapport, how to do small talk right, in order to connect with people and make sure there are seeds for continuation.
Yeah.
After that is how to maintain relationship, which is the working in the word networking. So many of us know it's important, but just wouldn't do it. And the last thing is about leveraging, is about how to harness other people through their own independent will to support us, same as we are there for them. So goal, people plan, personal branding, connecting, maintaining relationships, and getting results.
Who's been your hero? Who's been your inspirational force that's allowed you to become who you are?
Actually, many people. First of all, it's my dad, who's always, his dream was to become a pilot, that eventually he was. So I grew up in a house where fulfilling your dream is a very important value. Next, I would say Ivan Meisner, the founder of BNI, Keith Ferrazzi, who also wrote the book Never Eat Alone. These were my two gurus around business relationships. And also Arianna Huffington, being an immigrant to the US who became not only an insane businesswoman, but a woman that follows her values, and always communicating them so strongly and authentically.
So, what's the biggest risk that you've taken in your professional life up to this point? To get to where you want to be, you got to risk and you got to go out there. What has that been
Yeah.
for you?
So my risks, it's funny because when I took them, I didn't think of them as risks, but so many people, how society tells you, hey, nobody's waiting for you, don't do it, you'll fail. So my first risk was leaving at the age of 21 to Australia without knowing anyone. Just I had just a work permit and and a suitcase. And again, within very short time, I got to work at the sixth biggest corporate there. 10 years later, I took another risk and left everything and moved to New York City. And within 3 weeks, I got to work for a PR firm in the city, which was, but again, looking back, I understand it's unheard of to, someone who's not American, he didn't study at the best schools in America, to find a job in a PR firm that works with big corporations and the UN and so on. And I mean, it has become kind of I would say, a muscle for me. Like, I mean, I know I can get along anywhere you'll put me. But yeah, so maybe other people thought it was a risk, but for me it was like, you only live once. Like,
Yeah,
let's try. In the worst
absolutely.
case, I'll make it happen.
Absolutely. So, what gets you up every day? What motivates you to not only do work at a high level, but to take care of your own soul? What is that for you?
So I start my day with meditation. Usually people around me know that they shouldn't contact me before 9 a.m. because this is kind of my own time, as much as I can, obviously. Meditation, eating well, doing some sports, really feeding the mind, writing, reading. So that's the first thing. But one of my biggest motivations would be the impact, because eventually, we have ex and hopefully as much as we can, years in this planet. And I think I have something, if it's my values and my knowledge and how I see the world, that can be very valuable to people, helping them to know that they can fulfill their dreams, that they can live the life that they want to a certain extent.
Yeah,
And this is the legacy. So one of the things that, make me, wake up happily every day is really knowing that I make a difference. And it's interesting because since I became an author, I'm getting, like approached by strangers that say, "Oh my God, I just read your book," and the way it influenced them, and that's the best thing I can hear,
yeah,
because that's why I do what I do, to make sure I change someone, or move the needle
yeah.
to someone's life and results.
So, speaking of change, if you were to have a dream tonight and run into the 18-year-old version of you, ready to charge out into the world and change things, what advice would you give that young version of you based on this life you've led, the wisdom you've gained?
I love this question. First of all, is knowing that everything will be all right. It's just trusting yourself, really, really trusting yourself. Unfortunately, I lost my mom when I was 21. So being 18 was actually for me, it was blossoming, a very, very fruitful time in my life, great time in my life. And then when I lost her, there was a lot of insecurities, and a sense of pleasing other people along the way, because, my pillar, my mom,
Yeah,
was gone. So I would tell myself, hey, you can trust yourself and everything will be okay. And also, I will tell myself, work more on automation
yeah,
because I'm a very personable person. And at some point, it can take a lot of energy, or there are things that you can automate a bit better so you can make, better impact or work more efficiently.
yeah.
So these would be the two.
So, as somebody that's traveled around the globe and seen a lot of this planet, what's one of the most unexpectedly magical places that you've been to?
Wow. Actually, Australia, like Sydney and Byron Bay, were really magical, special place, because I think the fact that Australia is so far away, people are, I would say, been kind of in between of being American and British culture, and they're so nice, and the country is just, the nature is wild. And even though I've been living in cities most of my life, I guess I'm more geared towards nature. And another place would be Sardinia,
Wow.
um, in the Mediterranean. Also, this really insanely beautiful island with such good people. Everything is just simple, the simple life, the simple
Yeah.
mindset, and I think it's really grounding you, and just bringing us back to basics.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. Of everything that you've done in your life, everything you've accomplished and evolved to, what are you the proudest of?
Um, I'm proud that I can really help other people, that I can
Yeah.
really make even the smallest difference in other people's lives and other people's journey towards fulfilling their goal, because I truly believe that happy people or content people usually make better things, make good things in the world, and influence others. We all basically, we are so, they say that we're contagious. If we're excited, it's contaging other people. If we're upset, it influences our surrounding. So essentially, if more people would be happy and content, then their surroundings will be more happy and content, and then we'll try to do better things in the world. And we have so much pain and hardships in the world. So it's really a lot about about your mindset and how it influences the people around you. So
So
I'm proud that I'm able to have some kind of contribution towards that.
sure, for sure. So let me ask you this. Everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What is your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I always say that I'm like this relentless, girl. Like I still feel like a girl. I'm 42, but I still feel like I'm a girl that want to discover the world and is very curious, that want, to have fun, alongside with earning good money and living the good life. But I still have this childlike feeling about myself, and I like it. I don't want it to go away, because it really makes life more exciting,
Yeah,
and it's not boring. So for me, at least,
absolutely. So let
yeah.
me ask you this. If anyone wants to reach out, they have questions, they want to hire you, they want to get your book, any of the good business in your world, where do they go?
Well, basically everywhere. I'm mostly on LinkedIn,
Okay.
also Instagram. My book is on Amazon, the Super Connectors Playbook. And yeah, and I'm trying to share as much as tips and knowledge as I can for entrepreneurs, ambitious people, startup founders, and happy to engage with anyone who's contacted me.
Absolutely. What a wonderful story. I will put all those links in the show notes. Thank you for your light. Thank you for your good energy. Thank you for your story today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Joe, for having me, and keep sharing your great messages to the world through this beautiful podcast. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you. Take care.